And now we got the second of the two tough finale fights. This one is going with Kurt Holobaugh versus Austin Hubbard in the 155-pound division. And I really like this fight. Kurt Holobaugh is a guy that I've kind of been a fan of. I liked his fighting style when he came into the UFC for that second stint, like when he fought Tony Barcelos. He was beating Ione Barcelos 2 rounds to 0 before he got knocked out in the third round. Then he fought Shane Burgos. He dropped him early and then got submitted. Then Thiago Moises, even that fight was fairly competitive. So I feel like he has been in fun fights and he's, you know, done well. He's just been in there with killers, man. And he's 0-4 in the UFC so far. So that's something that you have to be a little bit weary of. I mean, some of these guys that are in the UFC for like a long time, they never win, like 0-3, 0-4. It could turn into a mental thing where maybe that's the reason why they aren't winning in the UFC. But hopefully, Holobaugh, being on the Ultimate Fighter, fighting for the UFC 4 times now, he's likely gonna have nothing to lose, man. I mean, the guy knows he has to go out there and 36 years old, 0-4 in the UFC. Just go out there and go for it, man. Go for the win, and if you get that finish, you're guaranteed a contract, and you're an Ultimate Fighter champion. So that's something that you're gonna be able to put on your mantle forever. And in his way, though, it's gonna be Austin Hubbard, who went 3-4 in his UFC run the first time he fought in the UFC, and Hubbard, I would say he hasn't fought nearly as good of guys that Kurt Holobaugh's fought, and I feel like he is someone that isn't quite as fun to watch. He has a more point fighting style, and I think that he can beat probably more guys in the UFC, but Holobaugh is probably more fun to watch. So this particular matchup, though, when you look at how these two guys fight, it's going to be really fun. And I do think that Kurt Holobaugh has the edge because Austin Hubbard, to me, he's a low volume guy. One thing I'm a little bit weary of is the shots up the middle he does come with, the front knees. I think the uppercuts will be there in this fight for Hubbard if he does look for them. And just strikes up the middle because Kurt Holobaugh is always coming straight forward. But Hubbard has issues with pressure fighters with heavy hands, in my opinion. And Kurt Holobaugh, his last fight, he looked great, man. I mean, the guy was putting his combinations together. He is really like a technical brawler where he uses the jab to get inside, then you'll rip hooks to the body, come up to the head. He has pretty good straight punches, and he has big power in his hands. So I think that the volume, the power, and the pressure is going to be a lot for Hubbard to deal with on the feet. And Hubbard has okay wrestling. I mean, maybe he'll be able to take Holobaugh down a couple times, but Holobaugh has really good wrestling himself, underrated wrestling, and I think he could stuff a majority of the shots. I also believe that he can get back up to his feet or reverse when he's taken down. I don't think Hubbard has as good at grappling as Holobaugh does. I think he just has probably the better offensive wrestling. And as far as cardio goes, I would maybe lean towards Hubbard there, but Holobaugh's a dog too. I mean, the guy doesn't really get tired. He's going to push the pace. He's someone that's kill or be killed type of style. And I just feel like Kurt Holobaugh is going to do more during the fight. I think he's going to be the more damaging fighter, and I see him getting the victory here. I don't know if it's going to be a finish in the later rounds or a decision. Hubbard's a guy that's really hard to get out of there. So if I had to give a prediction, I would say Holobaugh by decision, but I like, his style here. He looked really good against Jason Knight. I think the pressure, the combination punching is going to be effective here. I think his power is going to get to Hubbard a little bit, and I think Hubbard isn't going to land nearly as many shots unless he can hurt Holobaugh a couple times or be effective holding him and controlling him. I think Holobaugh is just going to beat him down, man. So give me Holobaugh to get this one done, get his first UFC victory, and become the Ultimate Fighter winner.